I'm MarzGurl.
I'm JoshKnightTheFirst.
And welcome to episode 85 of MokkoriPlay, the only podcast dedicated solely to all things City Hunter.
On today's podcast, we're going to cover Season 2, Episode 34 of City Hunter, titled Mokkori Contract, The Strange Journey of Ryo and a Bad Girl, Part 2.
Nothing else cool to talk about, right? Like, we can just get right into this two-parter, finish this whole thing up?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, great.
Hey, so this is us from, literally less than 24 hours later from when we recorded that first part. So, when we said there's nothing to cover this week, that was a damn lie.
Oops. The very next morning, this happens every time we do a podcast, if I'm to be honest. We're just like, nothing to talk about! And then the next day, somebody announces some City Hunter-related news. And, well, this one felt like, no, we need to say something because we literally just said, I guess there's no news.
And then they decided to hit us with this. So we got this from @AllTheAnime over on Twitter.
It's Anime Limited, so they are usually a UK distributor of anime. Although, as of late, they've been starting to kind of get their feet wet and dip their toes into the North American market. In fact, I think it was either Anime Boston or Otakon. They had a panel there. So, I guess they're local distributors now.
I mean, from looking at their profile, they just kind of sound like European discotheque, which if I say those words and you don't know anime, you just think, oh, dancing in Europe. No. Like, Discotheque the company.
The company that distributes pretty much all of the rest of City Hunter in North America. So now we've got competition for the City Hunter brand in North America, which I don't know how good that is, but we have confirmation now, at least, that the movie we've been so excited about, City Hunter Angel Dust, which is coming out later this year to Japanese theaters, well, now that's coming to theaters in the UK, in Ireland, and in North America. And when they say North America, that makes me think, oh, are they actually including Canada? They might actually be including Canada.
They may also be including Mexico.
They could
because,
include Mexico.
Funny enough, I forgot to bring this up when we didn't say anything last time we recorded this, which was like a day ago. Funny enough, we're looking around for just stupid crap on YouTube, like you do. And we came across a bunch of anime openings in Spanish.
Oh, yeah. Mind you, this was Spain Spanish. Okay?
Right, which is a different kind of Spanish.
Yeah, their opening for City Hunter is something else. It's just the most comedic AMV you've ever seen.
What was it called? Cazador?
Cazador, yeah, I think.
Or in some places it was Cazador Urbano, which basically is City Hunter.
A little more literal to City Hunter. I liked the announcer's pronunciation of Cazador.
Yes.
It was great.
But yeah, now we get the chance to see it in theaters here in the States. We don't have to worry about missing it unless they're putting it out around the time we're planning on leaving the country.
They're not, Josh. We're not leaving the country in 2024.
Oh, it says 2024. Then we're going to see it.
Yes, we're going to see it.
Oh, thank God. I was over here reading incorrectly and thinking it was 2023. Okay, so we just have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, so in fact, that is long enough that I would imagine a dub could be produced by then.
Now, see, if it's this company from, you said, the UK?
Yeah.
Would that mean that Sound Cadence could still work with them and they could use that cast?
They are distributing a bunch of stuff that was North American dubbed and released like on Crunchyroll and stuff. Take, for example, Tonikawa is a TV series that ended up on Crunchyroll. They're releasing that on like DVD or Blu-ray, whatever, retail. They're doing the retail release and distribution worldwide, including North America, and that had a California dub. So, like, that's what's getting distributed. So, I mean, yeah, they could choose to still go with Sound Cadence. I don't know if they will or not, but people are tagging them like, oh, please bring Sound Cadence back because they did the last movie.
And it's not like there's a lot to say about that dub beyond, oh, it's the better of the two dubs when you compare it to like the 90s movies.
All the ADV stuff, yeah.
But it really was a very good cast.
Pretty competent, yeah.
So yeah, I would have absolutely no problem hearing that cast again in this movie. But beyond that, it's the fact that we're getting the City Hunter theatrical release in the States in the year 2024.
In actual theaters. I don't know if that has happened before.
I don't think that's ever happened before.
For City Hunter specifically.
Like, we gotta go.
Yeah, well,
we have
obviously.
To be there.
Man, we need to, like, make MokkoriPlay t-shirts and wear them.
Now you're talking.
See,
now you're talking
now
my
we gotta
language.
Wear branding.
Yeah, branding. I gotta get my Rio together. You gotta get yourself a hammer.
But if you get a Rio together, then you're not wearing the MokkoriPlay shirt.
I can still be Rio and wearing a MokkoriPlay shirt.
Alright.
Mikaudian's still wearing a MokkoriPlay shirt.
Okay, I think these things are gonna clash a little bit.
No, it totally goes together. It's like bacon and eggs.
Bean and cheese.
Death and taxes.
Okay, great. I think we've said all we needed to say, and then awkwardly insert this right back into the show, and go!
We're just picking up from where we left off last week. I don't know what it is about Ryo this week. Like, he was already... We were having this problem with him last week where it's like, dude, just don't touch the 16-year-old. We know you have an age limit. Just stick to it. And then this week, he's just equal opportunity groping.
Yeah, I don't know. He's very much proving, though, like we've said a few times throughout the course of this podcast, there's some hints that I think Ryo could very possibly be bi, which is great, except for the fact that he's also a serial sexual harasser, which does not make it okay for him to potentially be bi. That
doesn't
all
excuse
I'm saying.
that. Those two things exist at the same time, and one of those things is not good.
No, it's not.
But to go ahead and get back into it, let's go ahead and recap from last week. So, we have this woman named Hiromi who has contracted Ryo to go ahead and find her soon-to-be sister-in-law named Sakura, who runs around with a violent gang called the Pirates. Turns out Sakura has a brother who Hiromi is going to be marrying, and he got a hold of some counterfeit plates.
Or he made them himself or something, like he was really good at it. Now the Chinese mafia wants those plates, and the brother was like, no, and so they shot the brother, but he lived, he's fine, kinda, yeah. Now Sakura's like, well, I don't want my brother to get in trouble again, and I don't want him trying to get revenge or anything either, so I'm just gonna hold on to these plates, and now nobody gets these plates, and now the Hong Kong mafia is like, no, give us the plates, and so they're after Sakura, and thus Ryo's gotta protect her, but he doesn't even know that that's why he's protecting her. He's just like, oh cool, you told me that your soon-to-be sister-in-law is a runaway, and so I'm gonna go get her.
But what Ryo didn't count on is that the Hong Kong mafia did try to get some extra muscle to help out in the form of Umibozu, which is where we left off last week, that Umibozu has both Ryo and Sakura at gunpoint.
And so what choice does Ryo have? He's gotta go with Umibozu.
And that's where we go ahead and pick up the action this week. So Umibozu goes ahead and takes Ryo and Sakura back to the Hong Kong Mafia's base of operations, which we kind of missed this. We saw this building in last week's episode, and I guess we didn't talk about it. The name of the building out front, it's written there in Roman alphabet, is Towarubiru.
Towalubilu.
Yeah.
With L's. I'm not really sure if it's trying to say tall building or not, which would be very funny and very
I think that's what they were trying to do.
It might be what they're trying to do. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna pretend that's what it was because it sounds very funny. Because biru means building, and toaru kinda sounds like tall, kind of.
I'm gonna go with that since that seems to be the easier explanation to swallow.
Sure.
So yeah, Umibozu has brought Ryo in front of this guy Egami, who's in charge of the Japanese branch of the Hong Kong Mafia that's here in Japan. I know that's kind of a mouthful, but that's fine. We've dealt with the Yakuza franchise dealing with that kind of stuff too, so you get used to it.
It's cool. Apparently there are Yakuza out here in Los Angeles somewhere.
I've never seen them.
I mean, I've never seen them, but you know, you deal with that sort of thing sometimes.
And so Egami is introducing himself to Ryo like, oh, I'm aware of you, City Hunter. And Ryo just retorts back, I don't know shit about you. Who the hell are you?
Why should I know you? You don't know who I am? I'm part of the Hong Kong Mafia. Oh, too bad. Never heard of you.
Like, Umibozu has to tell him, hey, this is the guy who's hired me to deal with all this. This is the head of the Hong Kong Mafia, Egami Ryo, Ryo Egami. And at this point, Ryo could keep going back and forth with retorts. They could have witty banter. Ryo decides, no, we're not going to deal with that. I'm going to go straight to butt grabbing.
I'm just going to sexually harass the Tokyo branch head of the Hong Kong Mafia. I'm just going to sexually harass him.
So two things right here. First off, we remember from last week's episode, Ryo had himself handcuffed to Sakura with a pair of handcuffs that he said he didn't have the key to. Well, apparently that was a lie. He's just out of the handcuffs now.
No. Ryo is simply a magician.
He might know some sleight of hand. That might be true.
I'm telling you, I think he can just get out of handcuffs whenever he wants, but Sakura can't, so she was screwed either way.
Well, not anymore, because now she's technically free from the handcuffs.
Well, no, she's still handcuffed, just not to anything.
And now Ryo's just gone over, and he's just feeling up man butt right now. Just all up in there.
There doesn't seem to be a reason for it. He doesn't have an explanation. I feel like the only explanation is just, well, well, what if I just threw this man off of his game entirely and made him not even sure what's going on right now?
Entirely possible. Like, back in high school and college, I had a bunch of buddies of mine who used to love, amongst each other, and then less so with me, they would like to play what they called gay chicken with each other.
Everybody knows what gay chicken is, yeah.
Okay, so what they would do is they would always go at it with each other, and the goal was to be the better person at gay chicken, go as far as you can without blinking, and Ryo doesn't blink. He's just grabbing as much man meat as he can, just butt. And you can see the look on this guy's face like, oh my god, I'm being assaulted, I do not know what to do, which is natural.
I mean, yeah, that is the correct reaction, even if he is a terrible man from the Hong Kong Mafia. Like, maybe we don't do that.
And so, of course, naturally taken aback, dude tells his second in command, this guy, he's no city hunter, he's just a lecherous man, just throw him in the basement, get him out of here.
No. He is both of those things. He is city hunter who happens to be a lecherous man.
Yes, these are both true. But they just tell him, lock him up in the basement, I don't want to deal with this guy. And the whole time, Umibozu doesn't do anything, he's just drinking.
He's just like, Ryo's at it again.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
Guess this is just what he's like. Like, he also doesn't even blink. Or maybe he does, we don't know. He's wearing sunglasses.
That's true. We don't know what he's doing under those sunglasses. He might just have his eyes closed. Like, oh, I don't want to see this. I just drink to hide what Ryo is doing right in front of me. So they throw Ryo in the basement and like, all right, stay down there until you learned your lesson, or I don't know what they were going to do with him.
They were just going to keep him there.
And so upstairs, Agami's getting rough with Sakura. He's tied her up and he's asking her, okay,
where are the plates? I'm not telling you. Where are the plates? No.
Okay, I'll tell you where the plates are. I gave them to D's.
D's who?
D's nuts! And she just racks him.
Yeah, like, she's pretty good at that. It's her one go-to move, actually.
I mean, it works.
It does. You know what? In self-defense, it's fair game. I think it's fair game.
And so this guy, obviously being in a lot of pain from having been hit in the nads, decides, oh, I'm going to assault this 16-year-old. And he rears back to, like, slap her in the face. And then his hand gets stopped. And you would think, oh, maybe Umibozu stepped in. No, it's Ryo.
Because I'm telling you, Ryo is a magician. He's an escape artist.
I mean, he would have to be Batman trained to be an escape artist.
Yeah, he can get out of handcuffs, and he can get out of imprisonment. I don't know what his imprisonment situation looked like. Well, they threw him behind a door.
They say it's in the basement.
There's only the one door that we're aware of.
I mean,
and
how
I'm
many
just
floors?
wondering how he got past anybody.
Like, I'm assuming, and this is just me, that they're at the top floor of the Toru Biru. So, did Ryo...
Toru Biru.
Yes. So I'm assuming Ryo had to go up like 6-7 flights like that.
Like that.
That's it. And somehow just magically appeared right behind Agami to stop him from slapping Sakura. Like, immediately.
I mean, this is what he's good at. So he stops him. Is Umibozu not there in the room?
No, he's still here.
He's there, right? And so this guy is like, hey, Umibozu, would you please kill this man? And he's like, no, you do it. But I'm paying you. No.
Technically speaking here, we had a contract for me to just bring in the girl, and I completed that contract.
Yeah, but I'm gonna start a new one with you right now, and I'll pay you whatever you want. And he's like, no. You lied to me about the situation with the girl. You just told me she was a runaway. You didn't say she had these plates you wanted, and now I don't trust you anymore, so we're just not doing another contract. I'm leaving. And I keep telling you, he does this on purpose. He knows how to ride this line so that he never actually has to get into a dangerous fight with Ryo, even though he might trick some people into thinking, yeah, I'll fight Ryo. Oh, never mind, I found a way to slip out of my contract.
Now, to be fair, he does actually want to have a duel with Ryo.
Yeah, but these are not the way, this isn't the way he wants to do it. He wants to do it on his own terms, not under terms by somebody else, in some unfair matchup, or shooting him in the back or something like that. You know, he wants to do it his own way.
Straightforward mano a mano.
Man to man.
Yeah, that sounds like Umibozu. So at this point, Ryo has basically done everything he needs to do. There is really no threat right now. And so he just tells Sakura, all right, let's bounce. At this point, one of the guards from downstairs has finally ran his ass all the way up to the top floor, busts in the door, and he's like, hey boss, City Hunter escaped.
Oh, did he now? Where do you think he went? went?
Yeah, I got a little surprise for you here. Good job, Slowpoke.
This just in, City Hunter's gone.
This just in, Japan lost the war. Like, dude, you're a little late on the story here. Boss, do you also know Disco's dead? And so everybody just takes off. Like, Ryo just trips this guy up, takes his gun to make sure, you're not gonna do that. I'm just gonna, like, moonwalk out of this room with Sakura in tow, and we're out. Bye. And Umibozu, I love that this is his response. He just tells everybody, man, screw this. I'm gonna go home and drink by myself.
He doesn't want to keep drinking there. He doesn't like the company, so he just leaves.
Now, to be fair, I do worry a little bit. If he wasn't such a big guy, I would be worried how much alcohol he's consuming.
When's the last time we even saw him actually drunk, though?
See, that's the thing. Like, I imagine because of his size and muscle mass, it must take him a lot to get drunk. Like, he's built up quite a tolerance. But even then, everyone's got their limit.
Like, how close do we think he is to, like, Captain America can't get drunk?
I don't know. Like, does he have that kind of metabolism?
I don't know.
I mean, clearly he must keep in shape. Like, does he just have some kind of amazing regimen that his body just burns through it like coal in a steam engine?
Here's a question. Can Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson get drunk?
Not on his own stash.
Does he sell alcohol?
Yeah, that tequila.
Everybody sells a tequila. I don't remember who sells a tequila anymore.
He's got a tequila.
Okay, whatever. That doesn't matter.
I don't know. I think Umibozu's bigger than Dwayne Johnson.
Then I don't even know.
Yeah, so we don't really have a basis for comparison here. So now we head back to the apartment, and Ryo has brought Sakura home to Hiromi, who's waiting there with Kaori, and Hiromi's trying to show concern right now. Like, oh my god, you're safe. I was so worried about you.
Yeah, but Sakura's still feeling like, you didn't want me. You just wanted the plates. And then Ryo's like, yeah, so what about those plates? You wanted the plates too? She's mad at everybody right now.
But Ryo has to break it down for her, like, hey, think about this for a second. You guys are being targeted by the mafia. All three of you are in danger unless we do something about the plates, stupid.
Look, she's just 16. Of course she's a little stupid.
And so now Ryo is having to run into the same issue that Umibozu just ran into with his employer, where Hiromi's trying to tell Ryo, okay, well, you got Sakura safe, but now we need protection from these guys because they're after the plates. Please help us.
Yeah, but you still haven't paid up with the Mokkori you promised me, so where is that right now?
Yeah, we need to settle that debt first, and I do appreciate the rhyme scheme that the subtitles have here. I'm not working until I've been paid via getting laid.
I think it's tacky.
But it sounds like him, though.
I guess.
Now, to be fair, Ryo has had a problem with people not paying City Hunter for services rendered, so I get why he'd be concerned about his bottom line here. In any shape or form, I would hope it would just be monetary.
But unfortunately, that's not what the agreement was. Regardless, Kaori's still not very thrilled that there's a dangerous thing happening to this group of people, including a child, and so Kaori's pretty mad that this is the thing that Ryo thinks is very important at this moment. So there's gotta be a hammer.
And she's got the hammer out. She's ready to bring the hammer down, and then Hiromi interrupts her. Wait. No. I'll do it. And Kaori's just looking at her like, excuse me, you're agreeing to this? And the thing about it is, like, Hiromi's coming off like some sort of woman in a Greek tragedy play, like, no, I must take this burden on myself. If I'm going to protect both myself and Sakura, I'll do it. Have your way with me. And Ryo's like, all right, cool. And like no care given whatsoever.
And Kaori just really does not accept any of this. And yeah, hammer happens. But man, she just, the level of
destruction.
Just the amount of swing, like the force, like immediately through the window. We don't even see the full animation of him going flying. It's just, this window shatters and he's on the ground shattering the sidewalk. It's so much.
And so quickly too. He's just immediately out the window from the hammer hit and then immediately 6 floors down in the cement.
In the pavement, yeah.
And see, that's the thing about it. The hammer didn't have anything written on it this time.
Sometimes that happens.
No, that's the thing. That doesn't really happen.
But
more often than not, it's got a denomination on it.
But maybe the writing was just on the other side of the hammer.
Usually, the hammer has something written on both ends so we can read it.
Not necessarily.
But you're guessing.
I am guessing.
Well, so long as you admit it. And so Kaori's trying to tell Hiromi, look, you don't have to make any agreement with him. I'll do the job. I take money. I work for money.
Either way, Sakura's just mad that any of this is happening at all. And she goes and she runs out the door and she doesn't go very far. She just goes to the rooftop and somehow Ryo makes it up up there after having been hit with a hammer and is down on the ground. And
I was going to complain about that, but then again, we literally just covered that he was able to make it from the basement of another building up to the roof in a matter of seconds. So him doing that again here, I'm not going to question that.
Okay,
not
fine.
twice in one episode.
So he's just there. See, he's just there up on the roof, and he's like, hey, how come you're so mad at your future sister-in-law? Is it because she's going to marry your brother and you think your brother's going to go away? She's like, no!
But that's totally what it is.
But it's yes. And he's like, hey, that's just the way siblings go. Like, you grow up and you go your own separate ways. So, I mean, it's better to just mature about this right now.
Be mature and just admit that's what you're feeling. Those are grown-up feelings. You can have those feelings.
I mean, he didn't say it like that, but...
But it's essentially the feeling that he's trying to get across. And so Kaori comes up to the roof with Hiromi, and Ryo kind of just pushes Sakura in Hiromi's direction, like, be honest. And they don't have much of a conversation before Ryo excuses himself, trying to be cool, like, alright, you guys talk it out, I'm gonna go hit the sack.
And then everybody's asleep. Or at least they should be, except Kaori's awake, and she's trying to make sure nobody's being all sneaky, which she needs to do, because Ryo is being all sneaky.
He's trying to sneak into Hiromi's room, like, I had an agreement, she said yes, so I'm gonna make good on that. Please get out of my way.
And Kaori says no, and she's got a hammer again, and this time, here you go, Josh, it has writing on it, since you need it so badly.
I do. That makes me feel better.
Okay.
It's a 6 million ton hammer.
Sort of seems to me like it would be really difficult, one, not just to hold, but two, even if you could hold it, if you're just standing there with a 6 million ton hammer, like, wouldn't gravity be a thing and, like, you kind of break through some floorboards or
I mean,
something?
it depends on how deftly Kaori can handle it. She's got the strength of an elder god, Kaylin.
Sure seems that way.
And then I do like that as Ryo is pancaked on the floor, we see the first bit of something that happens a lot throughout all of these action sequences here in this particular episode. Ryo's kind of got Muppet face.
A lot of these characters at some point have some kind of Muppet face going on.
Now, unfortunately for the two of them, they are distracted with trying to punish Ryo or get out of said punishment that they didn't notice that two guys broke into the apartment.
Whoops! There go the ladies in the very room that Ryo might have actually been in and actually might have been able to protect them had he actually successfully snuck in to assault one of them. But never mind, I guess none of that happens, and the Hong Kong Mafia now has the two ladies.
No, they just have one of them. They only were able to take Hiromi, and Sakura just got slapped in the face.
Bitches. The Hong Kong Mafia, they're bitches.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if that's how you were referring to Sakura and Hiromi, and I'm like, man, that's kind of
No,
mean.
the
Okay.
Hong Kong Mafia are bitches.
Well, that they are. They have taken her and run, and Sakura's trying to tell them they went that way.
Alright, here we go.
So in the car, the guy who's taken them, who I believe is the lieutenant from last episode named...
I don't know why you're looking up the name. His name literally doesn't matter.
I'm only saying it because they bothered to name him. Misawa. Got it.
Do they even say his name at all this episode?
No, but I'm pretty sure it's the same guy from last week, so I'm just gonna go with that.
Alright, cool.
So Misawa here is phoning back to the office telling Egami, hey, I've got the woman, the other one will fall in trying to get her, and she'll drop off the plates with us to exchange for her safety.
Except she's then like, haha, that's not gonna work. My future sister-in-law hates me. It's not like anybody's gonna come rescue me, so you done fucked up. And so, guy's just like, oh, well, if that's the case, then I guess I'll just, murder you.
Like, it's weird when that happens, when we get the bumper for the middle of the episode, and it's always something really intense.
Yeah, because the eye-catch music is so alarming.
Yeah. Like, I should probably make that my alarm. I would wake up out of a dead sleep so fast.
Make that a text message ringtone or something.
Oh, no, that would drive me crazy.
Just every time you get, like, a Twitter alert.
No, I don't think I could stand it. And so here, I get that Ryo doesn't normally make this decision, but he kind of made a smart decision here. So he realizes that the apartment has been compromised. These guys got in, and credit to them, nobody ever noticed that they did. There have been plenty of other episodes where Ryo is very quick to pick up on the fact that someone else has gotten into the apartment or is trying to get into the apartment. So these guys don't necessarily suck. I can't chalk it entirely up to just Kaori and Ryo being distracted with each other. you know?
Right.
So what they end up doing is they take Sakura back over to Umibozu's, and they're trying to convince him to help out now.
And Umibozu's like, no, I'm not gonna take care of this 16-year-old girl. I'm not babysitting. I'm not having any girls over at my place. That's just not a thing that's gonna happen.
For those of you that don't remember, Umibozu has two major weaknesses. One is that he's incredibly bashful when it comes to women, and the second thing is that he hates cats.
And so Ryo threatens, meow. If
Like, that's all it took.
Yeah, if you don't actually help me take care of this kid, I will fill your home with cats.
Which to some people sounds delightful.
But apparently, for such a big guy, Umibozu is just so afraid of cats. And cats seem to really like him, actually.
That's the
like,
thing.
Every time we see a cat around him, like, they're just so happy to see him. For the record, a cat is trying to screw with our podcast right now.
Right now. Good kitty. And so you can tell right now that Umibozu doesn't want to help out, so Ryo has to sweeten the deal for him, and he says, all right, I'll tell you what. I'm willing to be generous right here. I know we're putting you out right now. How about this? What I'm getting paid for this job, I will split it for you down the middle, 50-50.
Now, the audience knows that he's basically not getting paid, and he's still supposed to be getting paid in happy fun sex times. Umibozu does
not know that.
He's not aware of what the value of the payment actually is.
So Umibozu decides, oh, he's actually being generous with me this time. All right, I'll take you up on that. 50-50, that sounds fair. And Ryo's like, great, I'll see you guys later. I'm heading off to this location. And he just tosses an address at Kaori. And he's heading back into Shinjuku to some place called Usando, which I'm not sure is the name of the business or the guy who runs it.
What if the guy just named his business after himself? In fact, he goes up to this old man who has a cat, which is unrelated to the cats that Ryo threatened Umibozu with. He goes up to this old man with a cat and calls him Usando.
So that's probably what it is. He has named his business after himself. So this is Usando.
Yeah, of course, the name of the business doesn't help us understand what the business does, really. So we're just gonna have to take context clues from here on out.
Well, they're doing that thing. They're showing, not telling. We see that there's a lot of pottery around this guy's place. So we assume that he's dealing in some kind of, like, art of some kind.
Uh-huh.
And so Ryo goes up to this guy and he's like, hey, Usando, I need a favor. Can you help me out?
And he's like, yeah, fine. And he stands up, but kinda doesn't move the cat in his lap properly while he stands up. He just sort of stands up without carefully picking up the cat and putting it on the ground. The cat just falls out of his lap and hits the floor. Like, you see its face hit the floor and the cat goes, rah, and I'm just like, oh my god, no! Granted, the cat didn't fall real far. It's not really hurt. But, like, still, like, we went back and looked at it a couple of times and I didn't like looking at it a couple of times.
You just didn't like this little orange cat hitting its head on the ground.
Like, I know you're okay and also you're not real, but, like, no. Why'd you do that, old man? The least you could have done was just gently put the cat down. It was only like a foot or two off the ground. Just move him off your lap.
But remember, don't get mad at the man. Get mad at Sunrise. They animated that.
They did. They made this man into an asshole.
Meanwhile, back over at Umibozu's place, Sakura is trying to sneak out. And so she's trying to get around Umibozu, keeping a very watchful eye over her. And so she makes up a story. All right, I gotta go shower. I'm all sweaty from everything that happened earlier. So just let me do that, all right?
And Umibozu's like, I guess, but it means I have to guard the bathroom door because I'm not gonna let you get, like, totally out of my sight. And she's like, well, why don't you come in here and join me? And he's like, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm not Ryo. No. And he's like blushing over it already. And like, this is fine. He should be uncomfortable with a 16-year-old girl acting all flirty and trying to get him to go into the bathroom with her, which she's doing it on purpose. She knows that it's weird and awkward and she's trying to get him in a position where she can get free. And she figures out a way to do it and is like, well, since you're being so bashful, how about I give you a gift of my underwear? Surprise! And just jumps up and puts her underwear on the top of his head like a hat, and he's very uncomfortable at this, which is good, he very much should be, and he just passes the hell out.
So from here we see that Sakura was able to get out of Umibozu's and get back over to the pirates' headquarters, there on the docks, which means, as we'll see later, she didn't have a change of clothes, Kaylin. She's running around without underwear.
Oh, that's true. I didn't really want to think about that. This is a 16-year-old girl. Thanks.
I'm just pointing out what the episode has presented here.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Also, wow, she got down there, huh? She didn't have a car, so I guess she took mass transit.
With what money?
I don't know. Hey, we never saw a Mini Cooper this whole episode, right? So Rio has not managed to replace his Mini Cooper from last episode to this episode.
Well, from the end of last week's episode to this one, no time has passed. So he hasn't had time to replace it.
No, he has not, I guess. So, anyway, nobody's got transportation. She's gone all the way back down to the pirate's warehouse, and in the bathroom, she lifts the lid off of a toilet's tank in this warehouse.
In the ladies' room.
In the ladies' room, and in there are a couple of plates. Here they are, the plates for making fake money that the Hong Kong Mafia wants so very desperately, and she's just like, haha, I got them. I don't know what she thinks she's gonna do with them. Now that, she really could have just left them there and no one would have ever known.
Well, I think they even bring this up later. I think the idea is that she was going to go ahead and bring them over to the Hong Kong Mafia to try and exchange them for Hiromi's safety.
Well, too bad that's not gonna happen, because now the other members of the pirates are like, so you were just keeping this here under our noses this whole time, huh? And she tries to do that whole kick a dude in the balls thing again, but he's like, haha, too bad, I have hands.
Funny how somebody finally got wise to that. Maybe I could just not let myself get kicked in the balls.
Maybe if I just catch her foot, she won't kick me in the balls. And that works.
And so basically what they've done, the pirates, is that because we know that the Hong Kong Mafia has been in contact with them, they have basically sold out their leader to get money.
The leader and the plates, they've both gone to the Hong Kong Mafia now. And unfortunately, this is Rio comes back, right? He comes back to...
Well, yeah, Rio is still back over at Usando's place, and he finishes whatever work he was doing for Rio, and then all of a sudden dude's phone rings and it's a call for Rio, and we assume it's Umibozu.
No, he said it's a woman.
Oh, so then it's Coyote then.
Yeah.
Okay, so Coyote gets a hold of Rio at Usando's because there was a number on the piece of paper that he had. That's right. So Coyote had the number. That's how she got a hold of Rio.
This is where I'm gonna be. This is the location and the phone number. I guess it was a call me if you need me situation, and now she needs him, and she calls him over hey, you done at Usando's? Great, come on over here. And so now Rio's gotta come back to Umibozu's, where he was supposed to be watching Sakura, and unfortunately Umibozu is still passed out on the floor. And Kaori's like, yeah, I just found him like this. He was just like this.
And Rio thankfully doesn't act jealous. He's just kind of like, pussy. You passed out from this? This is all it took? And you gotta remember, Rio, you're built different.
Rio, you've got a high tolerance for this weird shit, so...
Also, like we've talked about here on the podcast before, Rio basically has a fetish for underwear.
Sure seems to. I bet you he pocketed that underwear even, too.
I don't want to think about that. No, that's 16-year-old underwear.
I know.
I didn't see him do it. I'm gonna say he didn't do it.
Okay, I'm just saying, I don't know how out of character that would be. Even if it is
I'm just gonna hope he's got that limit in place for 16-year-olds.
Okay.
I would like that to be the case.
Okay, I hope so too.
And now that Umibozu has been able to snap out of it, he immediately snaps into action, heads down to his armory, which has way more shit in it than Rio does.
Right. So he goes down there, he's got very large weapons, many big guns, and he's like, alright, I'm gonna go down there, and I'm gonna go get her.
I'm gonna fix this. It was my job to watch out for her. I didn't do that, so I'm gonna make it right.
And Rio's like, yeah, but I'm coming too.
And Umibozu, this is how I know that he wants to be friends, because he's like, alright, fine. You can use whatever you want down here. That's the soft way of him trying to be like, oh, please, take part in my armory, use my guns. That makes us buddies.
Even though Rio doesn't actually use any of it, and he's like, no, I have to stay loyal to my own weapon. I love her.
And he's talking about his 357 Magnum, which he lovingly kisses.
Which is kind of weird. I've never seen him do that before. Yes, I understand he appreciates that that gun, but now he's making out with his gun. Now
he's not making out with it. He's just being sweet on it.
He's giving it so much tongue.
He is not.
He's not giving it any tongue.
So they jump in Umibozu's Jeep, head on down to the pirate's lair, which is, again, just a warehouse here on the docks. They park out front. Ryo's like, all right, I'm gonna handle this. Umibozu's like, no, I'm gonna do this myself. I'll do it quietly.
Ryo's like, okay, I'm not so sure about that. Kind of more worried about the guys you're gonna go in there after. And for good reason, because Umibozu goes in there.
And he's like, he's got the giant chain gun with him.
And then he just starts blasting.
Like, we're not understating here. We are telling you guys straight up, he started blasting everything.
I'm not even sure that he was necessarily aiming for people, because the whole building comes down.
He has become a one-man demolition crew. Literally, the entire building that the pirates have has crumbled to the ground around Umibozu. It's gone.
Watching the destruction happen is pretty incredible, actually. Just so many explosions.
So many bullets. And then there's all this rubble here on the ground.
There's no reason why some of these people shouldn't be dead, because they're just underneath all this collapsed rubble. And it's kind of cute and it's kind of funny. There's some dudes making some kind of faces.
More Muppet face.
But I'm just like, nah, you people are dead. Oh my god. Like,
Ryo just looks at him like, so that's what you meant by quiet, huh?
And Umibozu's like, yeah, well, I did get the information my way. Anyway, she's not here. The Hong Kong Mafia has her and the plates.
And they're on a boat.
They're on a boat. All right, let's go to this boat. And somehow they go to this boat.
So the thing about it is that Egami has taken both Sakura and Hiromi on this boat, and supposedly he's gonna off them out in the ocean, which I guess, get rid of the bodies out in the middle of the ocean, international waters, that whole thing. Fine, I kind of get that. But the thing of it is, it's how Ryo and Umibozu get there, because you would think, we've talked about this before, Ryo may or may not have access to a boat. Same thing for Umibozu. He may or may not have access to a speedboat. They don't take a boat.
So somebody has a helicopter. Now, it's Umibozu piloting the helicopter, right? He's the pilot of this helicopter. Is it his helicopter? Does he know a guy who can give him access to a helicopter?
Now we're having to ask this question. Does Umibozu, 1, either own a helicopter, or 2, does he know a guy?
Or 3, did he just jack a helicopter from somewhere?
Could he have jacked a helicopter? I mean, he's more than capable of jacking a helicopter. I would like to think the easier explanation is that he knows a guy.
So you don't think it's his helicopter?
I mean, it could be. They do seem to have access to multiple vehicles, both Ryo and Umibozu, but one of the things we don't see Ryo having is a helipad.
I don't think Ryo has a helicopter or a place to keep said helicopter. Now, we don't see enough of Umibozu's surroundings frequently enough. Like, we've seen he's in a pretty big warehouse kind of a situation, like all to himself, so he might have even more space that we just don't even know about.
Like, he might have the helicopter in the back?
Yeah, he might. Like, I don't know. You don't know.
Well, what would you like to say? I'm saying he knows a guy. You think he has one there in the warehouse?
I think it's possible.
Okay.
I think we don't have enough information, but I do think it's possible.
In any case, both Umibozu and Ryo catch up to the boat. I guess they had really specific directions, or maybe there was just one boat out there in Tokyo Bay.
That seems unlikely, but okay.
And so they get there, all the guards are up on the top deck, they see them coming, and this giant-ass gunfight breaks out.
And Ryo is sticking his head out the helicopter, and he's shooting people from the helicopter, and they're going down, and then they land on the boat.
Like, that's the thing about it, too. Umibozu, like, kind of fishtailed onto a landing position on the boat with the helicopter.
And then just jumps out of the helicopter, which there's no way he's completely gotten it all the way to shut down. He's just out here, and he's blasting again.
He's got the chain gun in one arm, he's got the bazooka in the other, and dudes are just going down.
And Ryo has jumped out of the helicopter, and now he's blasting, and everybody's getting shot. Everybody's just getting shot. Some of these people are probably dead.
Some of these people are very dead. You see blood. These are chest shots.
Yeah. It's not often that you actually see blood in the shots in the City Hunter anime, because once again, the City Hunter anime is relatively nerfed compared to the manga. But when you do see even a little bit of blood, you're like, oh, they mean that to be serious.
Yeah, like if they've allowed for blood to happen, you know that guy's dead. Like Ryo shoots like 3 guys in the chest. list.
Yeah, there's one where there's like a really tall flight of stairs. The guy is at the top of the flight of stairs and Rio is at the bottom of the flight of stairs, and Rio hits that guy and the guy just tumbles off the side of the staircase and lands on the ground on the deck of the boat, and you're just like, oh, well, even if the bullet didn't kill this guy, the fall did.
And then Rio does probably one of the more badass things I've ever seen him do in this particular season. So he's got to get higher up onto the boat, so he shoots through a rope that's there on the deck.
And then Indiana Jones his way, like, I don't understand the trajectory of the rope, if I'm to be honest with you. There's no reason why it should have had enough momentum to swing him all the way up to the second level of this boat, but it did. And he swings all the way up and he does this Yakuza bust through the glass window porthole of this boat on the second level. He just swings right on in from a rope that wasn't moving a second ago and has no momentum, but fine, he did it. He just did it.
And it goes in this arc from where he was on the ground up through the air, through that window, goes through the window. There's a guy perfectly there that he's able to disarm, and there's a lot of detail on the gun.
Yeah.
When he disarms him, he's like, "Take me to your women."
It was a really weird line, but, I mean, kind of cool out of context.
Like, basically what we're saying right here is that this episode is just an excuse for pure mindless 80s action.
It really is. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it is kind of cool.
So this dude takes Rio down into the lower decks where Hiromi and Sakura are being kept, and Egami's got him both at gunpoint, but he's hiding behind a pillar because he knows Rio's coming down the stairs.
And Rio's like, hey, let him go. And Egami's like, no, drop your gun.
And so he rolls out from behind the pillar to try and shoot at Rio, and then he just ends up hitting his own guy in the chest.
And Rio's like, alright, fine, I'm gonna put my gun down. He throws his gun off to the left, and he's like, well, haha, I'm gonna shoot you now anyway. But then Rio is like, well, I'm gonna dodge roll and just grab the gun that I just threw to the ground. Like, it was really pointless.
There was no point to him dropping the gun. Egami tried to get him to drop it. It didn't matter. He just rolled and grabbed it anyway and disarmed Egami.
And now we freed the women, and now these plates have fallen on the ground out of Egami's jacket. And Rio takes the women and he's like, well, I would kill you, but I don't want to subject them to seeing that, so we're just gonna go. And Egami just thinks, oh, he left me with the plates.
Yeah, like Rio took the plates for a second. He says everything that you just say he said, and then he drops the plates in front of his, in front of him, slumped on the ground. He's like, all right, we out of here, peace.
And Egami really thinks he got away with a pretty sweet deal, like with his life and with these plates. But Rio, now again in the helicopter with the two ladies and Umibozu piloting the helicopter, is like, yeah, but I got the plates. So now we know, okay, like you kind of figure this is what happened, but when he went to that other shop with the old guy with the cat that he dropped on the floor.
At Usando's.
Yeah, sure, that guy. He's a forger of types, and he made some other goofy-ass fake plates to print money.
Yeah, he's a forger of sorts. Yeah, he's an underworld forger. And so, yeah, Rio drops him into the ocean, and there's a couple of things I want to address there. One, they must have killed everybody on that ship.
Because they just let him get away, right?
Well, did they let him get away, or was there nobody left to try and shoot the helicopter?
Saying. That's exactly what I mean.
And then two, Rio drops the plates at Egami's feet, right? You would think that Egami would look at the plates.
I guess not. And then he apparently makes it all the way back to Hong Kong with these new plates. And we're looking at the scenery for Hong Kong. And we see a couple of shots. Well, it's really just the one shot, but it's two different signs in this bright neon Hong Kong looking place. There's signs that say Yuehua Chinese products. And we're like, they've named this twice. Is that a thing? You know what? Yes, it is.
So it's a business of sorts.
It is some kind of a business. Seems popular enough. They've got their own website, and there's buildings that I'm looking at photos of buildings that they own that look actually shockingly still like these signs that we're looking at here in the 1980s in this cartoon.
So this is a real place.
This is a real, yeah, they make just the cheap-ass Chinese knockoff kind of products there. Either way, that's not really, like, important, actually. Like, that's not the business that this guy goes to. It's just to kind of illustrate what the area looks like, right?
To show where they're at in Hong Kong.
Yeah, so in Hong Kong, dude goes back to this warehouse where they're like, yeah, we're gonna start printing this money. And I'm like, so nobody looked at these plates before starting to print the money?
Because that's the thing, you see giant ass stacks, pallets worth of already printed money from these plates that Egami has brought.
Yeah.
And so they've printed up what could be thousands upon thousands of dollars already. Because we see that it's US currency. And so he's talking to whoever his liaison there is in Hong Kong, like, all right, we got the money all printed up. Let's see what we got. And one of the dudes takes a sheet off the press, runs it up to the liaison, and is like, hey, you better look at this. Dude takes a look at it and then immediately orders everybody in the room to point their guns at Egami because he is royally screwed up.
Because we're looking at what the final prints of this money look like, and it's a $100 bill with Ryo's face on it.
Just smiling and making the victory sign. Making
Peace
the peace sign.
Yeah, peace, victory, same thing. This is like the Shin Ultraman DVD and Blu-rays that just got printed and mailed out to people. At no stage of production did you just look at it before you printed it to make sure there was no problem.
Because all it would have taken was one person pointing out, hey, this is wrong. Because it wasn't that hard. It's right there in your face. You don't even have to know that much to know, that's not Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin's not Japanese.
Josh, there are no Japanese people on American currency.
Yeah, but apparently these people don't know that. Because they made it through production, Kaylin. They had pallets.
They did have pallets. I don't know. Does all of Hong Kong know what Ryo looks like?
Well,
I mean, they know that Ryo doesn't look like... Maybe they don't know who Ben Franklin is, but they know, hey, this doesn't look like the guy on the $100 bill.
Well, it's a couple of years early, but maybe when they printed it up, it's like, funny that the $100 bill has Jackie Chan on it.
That is a bit early.
And so the last we see of Egami is he's got this worried look on his face, and obviously that makes sense. He's got like 5 guns pointed at him, and it fades to white.
This man is dead.
That man has been killed by the Hong Kong Mafia.
Yeah, so Ryo is like, yeah, I was soft on him, but I wasn't that soft. He knows this man is gonna die. He knows that. He's let this man die, even if he's not the one to pull the trigger on him.
Exactly. Like, he's not the one who pulled the trigger, but he made sure somebody did pull the trigger.
Yeah, this man's definitely dead.
This man is somewhere in the Great China Sea, just floating.
Yee.
But don't worry about that. We have happier things to focus on, like a wedding.
Hiromi got married to Sakura's brother.
Takao.
I mean, there he is. There. Now we've seen him twice for a few extra frames. He's never said a word this whole time, has he?
No, and remember, he had been shot up multiple times.
He's fine.
He got better.
He's alright. He walked away. But Sakura's like, oh, hey, there's Ryo and there's Umibozu.
Umi-chan.
Yeah, Umi-chan. I'm gonna go say hi to Umi-chan.
Like, she's got a pet name for Umibozu now.
Ryo's like, that's cute. She's calling you Umi-chan now, and Umibozu's not super thrilled about that, but Sakura's like, oh, well, thank you guys.
You really helped out.
You really helped. And Ryo's like, well, tell your sister congrats. I don't know why he doesn't just go up to her and say congrats himself.
Because he's being cool. That's what he does in situations like this. He hangs back, and he's being all cool and mysterious.
And so Sakura's like, well, I know my sister never paid you, but would you accept the payment from me? And Ryo kind of has to sit and think about it, because remember, as far as we're aware, I don't know how much time has passed, but as far as we can tell, she's still a 16-year-old girl. And so he has to be like, yeah, okay, but we're gonna have to wait a couple of years until you mature. And like, I think that's kind of still a slime ball sort of a thing to say, but at least he's not like, oh yes, let's go.
No, he's like, let's put a pin in that, all right? Rain check it, save that for later. We're not gonna deal with that right now.
I guess she's satisfied with that. She gives him a kiss on the cheek. I mean, maybe that's harmless. I still would have turned that down, but you know, that could be a lot worse, I guess.
Like, she just like gives him a peck on the cheek and then she leaves. So I would say if that's all it is, fine. It stops there.
But Umibozu still doesn't know what the payment was supposed to be for doing the job. Remember, the agreement was Umibozu gets half of what I'm getting paid. And so Umibozu's like, hey, where's my half of the payment? And Ryo is like, all right, we're gonna play gay chicken again.
You want your payment? Here we go.
And Umibozu just did not understand. Like, this is what it was the whole time, man. And so once again, Ryo is just kind of proving, like, he's not afraid to touch dudes. He's really not.
And, like, here's the thing. I understand right here, at least as far as my reading of this scene right here, because we're at the very end. Ryo would have been fine going through with it.
I think he would
He's
have
pretty
been.
fine getting a rise out of Umibozu because he knows Umi doesn't get down like that. And he tells him as much, like, I don't get down like that, Ryo, get off me. He's like, hey, I said I would pay you half. Let me give you your half. Come here, schnookums.
It's a pretty cute ending, actually. Even though, once again, Ryo's forcing himself onto somebody who doesn't want to be forced upon. But it's friendship!
Yeah, that's what you call friendship.
This is friendship. Ryo thinks Umibozu is a fun guy. He just wants to be his friend.
And like I'm having to think to myself as Supergirl is playing right here, just Umibozu, it's going through his head like, I just wanted somebody to drink whiskey with, not this.
I can imagine that for sure.
And that's the episode.
I mean, I'm glad that's over. Like, there were some funny parts and there was some good animation, but like Ryo did some things in this two-parter that he has to clarify, alright, I'm gonna do some fucked up shit, but I don't believe in doing the fucked up shit. And like, it was just kind of this...
He's doing
weird
it
back
to
and
do
forth.
it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's kind of the guy he is. That's just who he's been depicted as, is that in some cases, if he either needs it to get out of a situation, throw somebody off their game, or just wants to dick with somebody, he has no problems with that.
I guess not. We're making another movie and a TV series out of this guy, Josh.
I know. And I'm gonna be interested to see how any of that makes it into these movies. Like, in Shinjuku Private Eyes, they didn't change a whole lot.
No, they still had him, like, commit a sex crime by using a drone with a camera to fly into a women's changing room. Like, that's a crime.
That is a crime. He's just using different technology now to do it. But even then, he still managed to do the whole thing of, like, running through his hallway to try to get into the guest room. Like, that didn't change.
He's still doing that. But remember, they did change some of what he does for the Takarazuka play.
But I imagine, like we've talked about before, especially in some of these more dramatic episodes, Ryo doesn't assault when he's got too much on his plate emotionally. And there's going to be a lot of that here in Angel Dust. So I imagine the assault will be kept to a minimum.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And so next week's episode, it's just a one-parter, it's just a one-off about a woman trying to learn self-defense, and Ryo having to teach her there's more than one way to deal with that, because sometimes you just have to use everything at your disposal.
Including your femininity. Which sounds really creepy, but then it works.
I mean, there's something to be said about that working one way or the other.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes you just do what you gotta do to get out of a situation.
So long as you keep breathing, that's the most important part, and get to safety.
Yes.
And we'll have more on that next time.
So come back next time when we cover the 35th episode of City Hunter 2. Ryo is an instructor, extreme Mokkori tactics.
And if you want to catch us outside this podcast, you can always find us both on most social media. I'm at JoshKnightTheFirst.
And I'm at MarzGurl. Thank you all so much for listening to our 85th episode of MokkoriPlay. And if you don't come back next episode, Josh can't graduate from college.
No, the nightmares are real! No!